Keanu Reeves, the Hollywood legend, was taking a well-earned break from filming his latest John Wick movie in Las Vegas. He sat in a quiet diner off the Strip, sipping black coffee, his long hair tied back, wearing his signature black leather jacket and jeans. The neon lights of Vegas glowed outside, but Keanu just wanted a calm night, maybe eat a burger, pet a stray dog, and avoid the city's chaos. At 56, he was still the same humble guy fans adored, always stopping for selfies or giving up his seat on the subway. But chaos? It had a way of finding Keanu, like he was living in one of his own action films. It was a Tuesday evening, and the diner was quiet, with only a few truckers and a friendly waitress named Sally, who kept refilling Keanu's coffee with a big smile. Suddenly, the door slammed open, and in stumbled Mike, Keanu's old stunt double from his Matrix days. Mike was a wiry guy with messy hair and a nervous grin, but tonight he looked like he'd been chased by a pack of wolves. His shirt was torn, his face pale, and sweat dripped onto the floor. "Keanu," he gasped, collapsing into the booth across from him. "I'm in deep trouble, man. The Casino Mafia, they're gonna kill me." Keanu put down his coffee, his calm eyes narrowing. "Mike, slow down. What did you do?" "The Casino Mafia runs every shady deal in Vegas. They're not the kind of people you mess with." Mike's hands shook as he spoke. I know. I thought I could make quick cash at their poker tables to pay off some debts. I owe them 20 grand now, Keanu. 20 grand. They gave me until tomorrow night, or I'm a dead man. You're the only one who can help me. You're like a real-life action hero." Keanu leaned back, rubbing his face. He wasn't just an actor who played tough guys. Years of training for The Matrix and John Wick, martial arts, gun handling, car chases, even knife fighting, had made him tougher than most. But he had a history with gambling, one he didn't like to talk about. Before he was famous, back in his 20s, Keanu had played poker in underground games to pay the bills. He was good, too good. One night, he'd won big against some shady players tied to the mob. They didn't take kindly to losing, and Keanu had barely escaped with his life. He'd sworn off gambling after that, sticking to movies, motorcycles, and helping friends. But Mike was like family, and Keanu never turned his back on family. "All right," Keanu said, his voice steady. "But we do this my way. No stunts, no shortcuts. And you stay out of trouble from now on, Mike." Mike nodded like a bobblehead. "I swear, man. I'm done with gambling after this." The plan was risky but straightforward. Keanu would go to the Golden Ace Casino, the glittering fortress of the Casino Mafia, and win the 20 grand to save Mike. But walking into that casino was like stepping into a scene from one of his movies. Dangerous, unpredictable, and full of bad guys who didn't play by the rules. The Golden Ace was a massive, shiny building that screamed money. Slot machines dinged nonstop, neon lights flashed, and people in fancy suits and dresses laughed over cocktails. Keanu walked through the glass doors, his boots clicking on the marble floor. Heads turned immediately. "Is that Keanu Reeves?" a woman whispered to her friend. "He looks just like John Wick." Keanu ignored the stares, his heart beating a little faster as he headed for the high-stakes poker room. He'd scraped together 7 grand from his savings. Not much, but enough for a buy-in at the big table. The poker room was smoky and tense, with dim lights casting shadows on the green felt tables. Keanu sat down, his small stack of chips looking pathetic next to the piles of cash the other players had. There was Vinny, a slick guy in a pinstripe suit who kept checking his gold watch. Carla, a sharp-eyed woman with short hair, who chewed gum like it was her job. And Bruno, a mountain of a man with a scar across his cheek and a smirk that said he ate guys like Keanu for breakfast. Bruno was the Casino Mafia's top enforcer, and he recognized Keanu from the movies. Well, Bruno said, lighting a cigar and blowing smoke across the table. "John Wick himself. You think you can waltz into my boss's casino and take our money?" Keanu gave a small, polite smile, the kind he used in interviews. "Just here to play, Bruno. No trouble." Bruno laughed, loud and mean. "We'll see how long that lasts, movie star." The game started, and Keanu was sharp. He'd learned poker for a movie role years ago, and he'd played enough underground games in his youth to know every trick in the book. He watched the players like a hawk. Vinny tapped his foot when he was nervous, Carla stopped chewing her gum when she had a good hand, and Bruno scratched his ear when he was bluffing. Keanu played smart, folding early, betting big when he had the cards, and bluffing just enough to keep them guessing. The crowd around the table grew, whispering about the Hollywood star taking on the casino's best. Hours ticked by, and the stakes climbed higher. Keanu's stack grew to 12 grand, then 15. He was getting close to the 20 he needed, but the game was intense. Bruno was losing, and he didn't like it. "You're cheating, Reeves," he growled, slamming his fist on the table so hard the chips jumped. Keanu stayed cool. "Call my bet, Bruno, or fold. Your choice." Bruno's face turned red, but he shoved his chips in. The dealer flipped the final card. Keanu had a straight flush, ace high. Bruno had a pair of tens. The crowd gasped as Keanu raked in the pot. 22 grand, more than enough to save Mike. But the Casino Mafia didn't play fair. As Keanu stood to leave, four big guys in suits blocked his way. "Boss wants to see you," one said, grabbing Keanu's arm. The crowd parted, and Keanu was marched through a hidden door to a private office. Inside, behind a fancy mahogany desk, sat Lorenzo, the head of the Casino Mafia. Lorenzo was short, with slicked-back silver hair, a gold watch, and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Next to him stood Lena, his right-hand enforcer, a tall woman with a leather jacket and a cold stare. A new face was there too, Rico, a wiry guy with a ponytail and twitchy hands, known for hacking casino systems. "Keanu Reeves," Lorenzo said, leaning back in his chair. "Big fan of The Matrix. But you made a big mistake coming here." "I won that money fair," Keanu said, standing tall. "Let me walk out and we're done." Lorenzo laughed, cold and sharp. "Fair? This is my casino, Reeves. That money's mine. And your friend Mike? He's in the basement, and he's not leaving unless I say so." Keanu's jaw tightened. "What did you do to him?" "He's alive for now," Lorenzo said. "Tied up downstairs with my boys watching him. Hand over the chips, and maybe I let him go. Or maybe not." Lena smirked, cracking her knuckles, and Rico chuckled, typing something on a laptop. Keanu's eyes flicked to the room's exits. He'd faced bad guys in movies, but this was real. "Let Mike go, Lorenzo," he said. "Or you'll regret it." Lorenzo snapped his fingers, and 5 goons stepped out of the shadows, holding bats, knives, and a chain. Lena pulled a small blade from her pocket, and Rico grabbed a taser from the desk. "Get him," Lorenzo ordered. Keanu moved like he was filming John Wick. He ducked a bat swing, grabbed the guy's arm, and flipped him onto the floor. Another goon came with a knife, but Keanu sidestepped, kicked the knife away, and knocked him out with a punch to the jaw. Lena lunged, her blade flashing, but Keanu grabbed a chair, blocked her attack, and shoved her into a bookcase, which crashed down. Rico fired the taser, but Keanu dove behind the desk, the electric prongs missing him by inches. He grabbed a heavy glass ashtray and threw it, hitting Rico's hand and sending the taser flying. The last 2 goons rushed him, but Keanu was too fast. He tripped one, slammed the other against the wall, and they both went down. Lorenzo's smile was gone. He pulled a gun from his desk. "You're good, Reeves. But not that good." Keanu dove behind a couch as Lorenzo fired. The bullet splintered the wall. Keanu's mind raced. He needed a plan. He spotted a bottle of whiskey on a table, grabbed it, and threw it at Lorenzo's hand. The gun flew out, clattering to the floor. Keanu tackled Lorenzo, pinning him to the desk. "Where's Mike?" Keanu demanded, his voice low and dangerous. "Basement, behind the bar, red door," Lorenzo gasped, struggling under Keanu's grip. Keanu tied Lorenzo up with a phone cord and turned to Lena, who was back on her feet, holding her knife. "Don't make me do this," Keanu said. Lena smirked. "You're not John Wick, Reeves. You're just an actor." Keanu didn't blink. He'd trained for years, judo, jiu-jitsu, even knife combat for John Wick. When Lena lunged, he grabbed her wrist, twisted it, and sent the knife flying. She swung a punch, but he blocked it and swept her legs, sending her crashing to the floor. "Stay down," he said, and she did, groaning. Rico, still clutching his hand, tried to run, but Keanu grabbed him by the collar. "You're coming with me," he said, dragging Rico along. He needed answers. Rico's laptop might have info on the Mafia's operations. Keanu ran to the basement, Rico stumbling behind him. He found the red door behind the bar, kicked it open, and saw Mike tied to a chair in a damp, dimly lit room. 3 goons guarded him, but they weren't ready for Keanu. He took out the first with a quick elbow to the face, the second with a knee to the stomach, and the third with a chair he grabbed from the corner. He cut Mike free, and Mike's bruised face lit up. "Keanu, I knew you'd come." "Always do," Keanu said, helping him up. He turned to Rico. "What's on that laptop?" "Talk." Rico, shaking, spilled everything. "It's got records of Lorenzo's deals, money laundering, rigged games, everything. If the cops get it, the Mafia's done." Keanu grabbed the laptop and the cash. "Let's move," he told Mike. But as they reached the casino floor, Bruno was waiting with 8 goons, blocking the exit. The crowd backed away, phones out, recording the showdown. Bruno cracked his knuckles, his scar twisting as he grinned. "You're not leaving, movie star. Nobody beats the Casino Mafia." Keanu sighed, like he'd said 100 times in his films. Why does it always end like this? The fight was straight out of a blockbuster. Bruno swung a massive fist, but Keanu ducked, hitting back with a roundhouse kick that sent Bruno stumbling. One goon came with a pipe, but Keanu grabbed it, twisted it away, and used it to knock the guy out. Another tried to tackle him, but Keanu rolled, throwing the guy into a slot machine, which sparked and beeped wildly. The crowd cheered, some shouting, "Go John Wick!" 2 goons rushed in with knives, but Keanu was in the zone. He grabbed a tray of drinks from a passing waiter, threw it to distract one, and kicked the other in the chest. 3 more came, but Keanu used a table as a shield, flipping it to block a chain swing, then knocked them out with precise punches he'd learned for the Matrix. Bruno was back up, roaring, and charged like a bull. Keanu sidestepped, grabbed a fire extinguisher off the wall, and sprayed foam in Bruno's face. As Bruno coughed, Keanu hit him with the extinguisher, and Bruno went down hard, out cold. Sirens wailed outside. Someone had called the cops. Keanu and Mike bolted for the parking lot, where Keanu's black motorcycle was parked. "Hold on," Keanu shouted, tossing Mike a helmet. They jumped on, Rico clinging to Mike, the laptop tucked in Keanu's jacket. The engine roared, and they sped off into the Vegas night, the cash safe in Keanu's backpack. But the Casino Mafia wasn't done. As they raced down a dark road, 3 black SUVs appeared in Keanu's mirrors, gaining fast. "They're coming," Mike yelled, gripping Keanu's waist. "Hold tight," Keanu said, his voice calm but focused. He gunned the bike, weaving through traffic like he'd done in John Wick. The SUVs were close, their headlights glaring. One pulled alongside, and a goon leaned out with a gun. Keanu swerved, dodging a shot, and kicked the SUV's door, making it veer into a street sign. The second SUV rammed the bike's back wheel, nearly knocking them off. Keanu gritted his teeth, spotted a narrow alley, and turned hard. The bike screamed through the tight space, sparks flying as it scraped the walls. The SUV tried to follow but got stuck, its driver cursing as Keanu, Mike, and Rico escaped. But the third SUV was smarter. It cut them off at the alley's exit, forcing Keanu to skid to a stop. Goons jumped out, led by a new face, Victor, a bald, tattooed guy who looked like he bench-pressed cars. "End of the line, Reeves," Victor said, holding a crowbar. Keanu didn't hesitate. He revved the bike, charging straight at Victor. The goons scattered, and Keanu jumped off, letting the bike crash into Victor, who dove out of the way. Keanu rolled to his feet, ready to fight. Mike and Rico stayed back, hiding behind a dumpster. Victor swung the crowbar, but Keanu dodged, grabbing a loose pipe from the ground. The two clashed, metal ringing as Keanu blocked hit after hit. The other goons circled, but Keanu was faster. He knocked one out with a kick, tripped another, and used the pipe to take down the third. Victor landed a hit, grazing Keanu's shoulder, but Keanu spun, disarmed him, and pinned him to the ground. "Stay down," Keanu said, breathing hard. The sirens were closer now. Keanu grabbed the laptop and cash, helped Mike and Rico up, and found the bike, banged up but still running. They sped off, leaving Victor groaning in the dirt. They pulled into a gas station outside the city, where Mike caught his breath. "Keanu, you're insane," he said, half laughing. "I owe you my life, man. I'm so sorry I dragged you into this." Keanu shrugged, giving that classic Keanu smile. "You're my friend, Mike. Just don't gamble with those guys again. Ever." Rico, still shaking, handed over the laptop. "Give this to the cops," he said. "It'll take down Lorenzo's whole operation." Keanu nodded. They split the money, 20 grand to pay off Mike's debt, and the rest for Keanu to donate to a local dog shelter, because, Keanu loves dogs. Later that night, Keanu dropped the laptop off at a police station anonymously, slipping it into a mailbox with a note. "Check this. Casino Mafia." The cops raided the Golden Ace, arresting Lorenzo, Lena, Bruno, and Victor after finding evidence of money laundering, rigged games, and more. The Casino Mafia's empire was crumbling, and Vegas was a little safer, for now. Keanu went back to filming his movie, riding his motorcycle, and living his quiet life. He stopped by the diner to thank Sally, leaving her a huge tip and a signed Matrix poster. He even found a stray dog outside, gave it some water, and called a shelter to pick it up. But deep down, he knew the Mafia might come for him one day. Maybe they'd send more goons, or maybe they'd try something sneakier. Either way, Keanu Reeves, the real-life action hero, would be ready. For now, he was just a guy who helped a friend save the day and petted a few dogs along the way. And that was enough.